warm summer's evening, standing on the mound. The ballpark's full of cheering crowd. Home team's back in town. With all pitches at his command, stares the batter down. Lets it fly, a nasty curve caught, looking the batters out. Listening to Painting Corners, Painting Corners, the baseball podcast with insights for you. Listening to Painting Corners, Painting Corners.
So you're in Edmonton for what exactly?
Edmonton for work to sell security. So we don't have as big of a presence there. So going to be door knocking.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, walking into businesses. Hey, you sure you don't need more security or a new video management system? So yeah, it should be good. Yeah, what do you got going on this week?
Let's see. Honestly, today the big thing was I fell in love with this song from Henry V, the 1989 film.
Oh, Battle of Agincourt, yeah.
Yeah.
Agincourt, yeah.
Yeah, non nobis domine, and let me just say, I probably listened to this. I've spun this track probably 10 times today, and it is just beautiful track. So that's what I have going on. Pretty busy week, hanging out with wife and Mav.
Nice.
Listening to beautiful Latin music as the demise of Maestros in the AL West continues, and that's about it. What about you? How's baseball looking for you?
Baseball's looking good, man. I hope it'll be as interesting as the Battle of Agincourt, but I think we're seeing it play out with teams starting to come from behind and finding their way back into it. Like the Cincinnati Reds seem to be like a cat with 9 lives. So that's been interesting to see. And I mean, believe it or not, even with the D-backs fire sale there, I mean, they're somehow still on the periphery. So hard to believe, but they're not truly out of it. I mean, in the NL wild card right now, Arizona's 2 games out from the 3rd wild card, which is the Mets. And the Mets finally won one after dropping 9 in a row, I think. So things have been rough in New York, in Queens, but Pete Alonso 8 in a row. Pete Alonso opposite field home run, walk off. So that was a huge one for them. Just fastball sitting on the outside corner, and he just drove it the other way. And they were able to pick up a win today.
Cubs, Mets, the dads of the Great West have the NL wild card on lock, but it seems like
Cubs are in. I mean, yeah, there's 2 weeks left, right?
There's a hope for whom? Do we have a hope for the Giants? Do we have a hope for the Reds? Do we have a hope for the Snakes?
Well, here's the problem that you have with the Giants. I mean, you have Logan Webb pitching at Oracle at home, where he had a 2.77 coming into his start yesterday, gets rocked for 5 runs. And that was actually the PC pick yesterday. And one of the main reasons and thought processes behind that was I thought the Giants were going to be able to get to Kershaw, which they did get to Kershaw. I mean, if you had asked me, hey, Giants are going to put up, 5-6 runs. Do you want to take that? I would take that all day, twice on Sunday, right? Like being able to get the Giants putting up 5-6 runs. You think they're going to win the game. And really, I mean, you got anybody scoring 5-6 runs, and you expect to win a game when you're scoring 6 runs. I think that's fair to say. So, but things got messy, and the thing about the Dodgers, which will be interesting to see in October again, we saw this last year, is that lineup's deep, right? And particularly when Max Muncy is healthy, but you spend a lot of pitches on that lineup. You got to go Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, Max, Teoscar, Conforto, which is, I guess, the weakest hitter in the lineup right now, Pages, Edman, and then Ben Rortvedt, Rortvet, who's actually got a 231 um, ex Woba this year. So he's actually he's been hitting a little more than you might expect with the Dodgers because I mean he's pretty terrible hitter to be honest.
Was
But
it that cat from the Rays that they got midseason?
yeah, actually, yeah, backup catcher. Yep.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in some games, thinking to myself,
So I mean,
yeah,
he's got a 231 expected WOBA
mhm,
for 2025, but in 26 plate appearances with the Dodgers, he's hitting 318. So he's actually been a nice little pickup for them. Probably not sustainable. I mean, he's career 192 hitter, but he's given them a chance to give Will Smith a little bit of reprieve, and Smith's actually been on the IL with a hand contusion, so he's really stepped in there.
mm,
You got Chucky Robinson, who is actually I think he was picked up on waivers from the White Sox. So he's backing Rortvet up right now. But anyway, I mean, the Dodgers lineup is so deep that you don't even really feel like a Ben Rortvet hitting ninth, and I mean, you can tolerate it because the rest of the lineup's so good.
mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. One thing I want to come back to at some point is just the NL West in general. I left a little bit of it in our notes after you mentioned it that the D-backs, they're like,
Yeah.
and you've got more of an intimate understanding of the game within the game here, the game above the game rather. What's the plan? Like, so they have this fire sale. It seems intentionally unintentional because it's a fire sale, but it seems that this sustained success. What's the long term play there?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I colloquially, you could fit it under the umbrella of fire sale, I guess. I mean, the executive vernacular here would be like a soft sale versus hard sale. So, like the Twins, for example, traded 40% of their roster at the trade deadline this year, uh, including but not excluded to, or not exclusive to, guys of multiple years of team control, like a Yohan Duran, like a Jax, sending Griffin Jax to Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
They traded Louis Varland. I mean, they unloaded the chamber on that bullpen to the point where I mean, you wonder if Byron Buxton's going to get traded. You wonder if I don't know Royce Lewis is going to get traded. Right? Now those two guys didn't ultimately get traded, but they did move a lot of guys, and even like a Ty France. I mean, and it's funny how random the game can be because two of the best acquisitions at the deadline, Harrison Bader on the Phillies there, and Ty France on the Blue Jays. I mean, you don't know. Like these guys are pros, and
That's fantastic.
anybody can get hot.
That's exactly right. I think there's also it's not even diamonds in the rough going through a car wash, which is I often talk about, my stros like that with finding random pitching internationally and giving
Yeah.
him $10,000 at age 22 and turning him into a World Series no hitter guy for our man Christian Javier, El Reptile, shout out. But then you have these cats like Ty France where it's like it's almost like they just needed to get unblocked and have a little bit of luck and a little bit of baseball and a little bit of the mystique and the
Yeah.
mythos. And then man, it's like, oh, this guy's serviceable and fantastic.
Well, he's hitting 305 for Toronto
That's right.
in 91 plate appearances, and I think what a lot of people forget as well is that he had a 750 OPS for Seattle over a 5-year window, and that's at T-Mobile Park. You're playing half your games
Right.
in a significantly favorable park for pitching, kind of thumb on the scale type of park,
That's right.
the way that like a Great American, or I mean this year you look at park factor for like a Dodger Stadium, benefits hitters.
That's
So
right.
I kind of laughed this on X Twitter, the other day, that someone goes, well, Aaron Judge is having this incredible year, which he is, but they go, and he's in a pitcher's park. And I responded, I go, Yankee Stadium is not a pitcher's park, all right, by really any measurement. But I mean, Aaron is right-handed, so it actually doesn't like that short porch and right doesn't
Yep.
benefit him
Yep.
the way that it would Juan Soto. That being said, I will say he is very capable of doing what Pete does, which is going with the pitch. And he's so strong and his hands are so good
Mm-hmm.
that if he gets an outside pitch and he just rolls with it, he'll hit it out.
Yep.
So for him, he can go with a pitch and, that might be a double down the line or even just an out for somebody else. But for a guy that big and that strong,
Mhm.
he's hitting it out at Yankee Stadium quite a bit, more than you might think.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
um, yeah.
So
But
like you
back to
said,
the Arizona
yeah.
thing. Yeah, I think that trading away your rentals, your Eugenio Suarez, your Josh Naylor, essentially just Seattle Mariner transfer there. But even like Merrill Kelly going to Texas, like those guys are all free agents at the end of the year. So that's what I meant by soft sale.
Okay, that's really helpful. I think for our viewers, for our listeners, it's nice to get the
We love you.
we love you. This is for you. Sorry, this is
Yeah.
for you. Yeah, no, it helps. I think as a layperson for me to understand these terms. When I hear soft sale, my first thought is, okay, not a hard sale, got it. But I don't really get it. But when you say it
Yeah.
like that, it just sounds like the responsible thing to do. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You're just being responsible.
Well, think about it this way too. So I mean, the qualified offer for this year is what 21, 22 million. So
Hmm.
if you're getting put in a corner with executives and you're on the chessboard, so to speak, or you have a piece on the chessboard like a Zach Gallen, and he's been healthy all year, but he's got an ERA over 5, and
Yeah.
you're just thinking, man, I am really not getting offers for Gallen. And then you start to think, well, I mean, if he's really good down the stretch, we can QO this guy.
Hmm.
And then we're getting a draft pick next year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to think about it that way too, because that's your hedge, right? Is listen, if you guys give me a trash offers, I'm just gonna hold on to Gallen and get a QO.
Hmm.
Provided he pitches well down the stretch. But Mike Hazen and his team were confident enough in Arizona that, hey, listen, we're not getting the offer we want for Zach. Let's just keep him here in Phoenix, and we'll ride it out.
Interesting. So the QO is really what's the incentive there? Is it a lower price if no one bites, or is it that I get a draft pick if I let him walk? What's the
Yeah,
GM
so
looking for?
so the GM wants that comp pick for essentially when the offseason starts and you have a guy like Gallen, right?
Yeah.
Who if he continues or yeah, if he continues to have the, some of the recent starts that he's had, I think that there's a really good chance that he will get a QO. Also just based on his resume.
Hmm.
I mean, his last 3 years have been quite good. He's actually had up ballot Cy Young votes in 2022 and 2023. He was fifth in the NL Cy Young 2022, third in this NL Cy Young 2023. So there's a really good chance he gets QO. But really, what that does for Mike Hazen and the Diamondbacks is if they say if Gallen and his team say, no, we're good, we don't want the 1 year, 21, $22 million deal, we're going to hit the market, right?
Yeah.
That attaches a implied loss of a draft pick to the team that gets Gallen. So it's
Whoa.
zero sum, right? It's zero sum. So yeah, so that pick for the team who gets Gallen, that pick goes to Arizona, to that front office. Um,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay. So is that draft pick relative to the team? So it really is like a roll of the dice for the GM to be like, okay, whomever decides to pick up this free agent, I'm gonna get their pick. So, and that's already pre-ranked before the season. So there's no way to really like speculate and be like, okay, it's a second round, a third round, a fourth round. It's really just a crapshoot based on the team that picks them up.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the placement of the compensatory pick depends on like the team's market size, payroll situation, things like that. So
Fascinating stuff.
I believe at this point, they already know like where the CBA has them and things like that. So different picks have different values. But yeah, I mean, you're still picking after the first round is when the competitive balance round happens. So you're still going through like the studs,
So,
right?
so interesting. I
Um,
appreciate you telling me this. This is great.
Yep. Yep. So, but anyway, long story short, on that, is that, hey, cost benefit analysis, am I getting back, a good enough prospect, to justify trading a Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly or Josh Naylor? Uh, or does it make sense to go for the qualified offer? Now, I mean, typically you're just trading those guys unless you really feel like you're not getting much, partially because it's just a certainty, right? Like there's a lot of uncertainty in what can happen from the trade deadline to the winter meetings, and there's a good chance that things go wrong. Pitchers get hurt constantly, and so yeah, I mean, it might not be ideal to hold your chips, but
Right.
sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? If you're not getting offers, but
Right.
Arizona is fine in my opinion. I mean, Perdomo has gone from glove first, puzzle piece type guy, bottom of the order hitter, good glove, and he's a stud now. So
See, he's another one. Yeah, he's another one.
when when you flip a couple guys from puzzle piece to stud, you do that with two or three guys. I mean, you're winning the division at some point, right?
That's exactly
So
right. Let into gold, baby. Let into gold.
yeah, exactly. I mean, Geraldo is 135 WRC plus this year, and I mean that's elite. You know, apart from the fact that above average defender at an up the middle position, stealing 25, 30 bags a year. I mean,
Come on.
he's a stud. He's
Yep.
a total stud. And
Yep.
to pair him with Corbin and Gabby Moreno, and
Yep.
there's some fun stuff going on in Arizona right now. I mean, I wish Jordan Lawler was popping off a little more. He's had a tough adjustment to the show.
Yeah, I'll wrap with the Snakes on saying I was alarmed when Brent Strom walked after they missed the playoffs and the pitching collapsed. I thought that was a weird head to roll. It was very unfair in my opinion, just because Brent Strom's got such a great track record. But
Yep.
as we've said here at PC, glad he's helping out Skeens, win the NL Cy Young by a landslide. Um,
Yep.
and it just to me it sounds like the Snakes, they really know what they're doing, and it sounds like the fire sale. I wouldn't even call it a fire soft sale anymore. I think we need a new term for that almost, because it's really saying like a strategic weight shedding, right? Because the guys are walking inevitably. Let's get something for them to max that value. And just to sum for our new viewers that are learning about all this GM stuff that Aidan knows inside out, like the back of his freaking hand, there's this idea of the Q offer, the qualified offer versus am I going to get someone worthwhile at the trade deadline? Because shit can happen during the hot stove. You never know. So let's go
Yep.
Snakes. Let's see what happens. But that's all I have to say for them.
Yeah, and along that vein, I mean, just because you brought the Pirates, I mean the uncertainty of pitching health in particular. I mean, you look at just for an example, like Jared Jones at the beginning of this year, you're thinking, Jared's going to slot in
Yeah.
with Skeens, Mitch Keller. You got Bubba coming up soon, right? I'm talking beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And okay, we got Jared as our two or our three, depending on whether you think him or he or Mitch is better, I guess. But I mean, Jared goes down, Tommy under the knife, right? I mean, that's a tough blow, and you can't always predict this kind of thing, and so that's really where it goes into. And in fact, Bill James said that with pitching prospects, it's probably even more so. Like not will they be good, but will they actually be on the field, right? Like will they actually be on the mound?
Mm,
It's at least as much a health thing as it is a skill and performance thing. So especially with your top guys, with a Skeens, right? Like by the time he had transferred from Air Force and he was at LSU, I think we all saw it, right?
yeah.
When you're watching him, you're like, I don't see how this guy could not be good at the highest level. The stuff is there. He has the right attitude. I mean, he has a warrior mindset.
That's right.
And he has the command. I mean, his command's pretty good for a guy with his stuff. So you put it all together and you're like, what could go wrong? I mean, apart from some sort of, one of these rare situations where players have off the field issues, which happens, of course, but apart from one of those kinds of things, it's like really health, right? I mean, as long as Skeen stays on the field, he doesn't have elbow problems, I mean, God forbid, shoulder problems, he should be a stud for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Bring it back to the Battle of Agincourt. He was probably there firing longbows upon the French cavalrymen.
Hey, those longbows, were the key component in that battle, similar to the cannons that started the Ottoman Empire in Constantinople.
Some would say.
Yeah, some may say. I might say.
Hot take
Yeah,
alert. Hot take alert.
yeah,
The Battle of
yeah.
Agincourt was not won by longbows. It was won by the
Field
English.
position.
No, it was the English winning the battle because simply they didn't have honor. The French had honor. They decided to plow on towards the middle, and the English just kept loosing arrows at them, as was not the style of the day. That's my hot take for the day, and that's enough for me.
The last thing that I will say is that part of it, I think, is they kind of lured the French cavalry into an area where they wouldn't be able to navigate very well on cavalry.
You
So
could,
they essentially like neutralize the cavalry. And what's beautiful about the chaos and the friction of military strategy is that it's actually pretty similar to baseball. I mean, obviously there's a different level of seriousness with it.
there
However,
we
like
go.
there is a lot of friction and chaos, uh as Clausewitz would say, with baseball. I mean, there's all these unpredictable things that you can't really predict until you're in there. It's kind of like, when you're doing some sort of like upgrade of technology or something like that, like until you're in like the database and you're actually going through the migration, like there are just things that happen that sometimes you can't predict when you're in the environment.
The last
And
5% is always bigger than the 95% to get there.
yeah. You're like, oh, we're good. We got it all planned. And then, you get in there and you're like, oh, we got this going on. And, I don't know.
Updates
So
and Jira
anyway,
boards are meaningless. So to our viewers out there stuck
yeah,
at
there
a
you
day
go.
job here on a Monday, when your boss is nagging you about your time slot
Yeah.
on a Jira board, just tell them that's a blue pill mindset, and we're only about red pills here.
Yeah. And if your scripts ever need to get patched, just think that, when you're in the World Series, I mean, these guys all got scripts that got to get patched too. It's like closers down, who's coming in.
I think that's the best part about baseball is that like you are just patching the ship and sticking putty in the
Yeah,
leaking
you
holes,
are. You
and then
are.
at
Yeah.
the end of that you get like a
Yeah.
bloody sock from Schilling, or you just get like, I mean, who's that Rangers closer that just like stepped up big, in 23.
Garcia? Are you talking about this year?
No, the Rangers closer in 2023 who just like, they kind of had the shaky bullpen. They were getting
Oh, they
criticized,
had
but
Jose Leclerc and then they
yeah,
had
that's
Chapman.
right.
They had
Yeah,
Aroldis Chapman. Yeah.
yeah. Leclerc and Chapman just holding it down, plugging the holes in the ship. Love it.
And that's actually a good point into these trade-offs where, if you trade Cole Reagans but you win the World Series, uh you're trading Reagans for Chapman, right? Is that worth it? Right? I think that's an interesting philosophical question, especially like really contingent on, I mean, are you a consequentialist with these kinds of things, or are you a process guy? Because I mean, that's really going to dictate. I feel like if you're a consequentialist, you would say worth it. Chapman was a stud for a bullpen that, let's be honest, not very good. And you win the World Series. Do we care that we traded Cole Ray? I mean, we care, but are we going to lose sleep that we traded Cole Reagans?
Hmm. I
Or are you process guy? You know what I mean? Where you see
need
the
you to
math
unpack those
equation.
terms for me. I need you to tell me what process guy means, and I need you to tell me what the other one means because I've already forgotten. I think our viewers have too.
Well, by consequentialist, I mean that like is your level of satisfaction with the trade-off contingent on the result of how that player did in the postseason? So, meaning, if you're buying 2 months of Chapman, do you care how well Reagan's works out
Can
if
we
you
just
win
say
the World
short term, long
Series?
term? Is that what you're getting at? Short term versus long term?
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. I mean, it's really more so that like with the process side of
Yeah.
things,
Tell me.
it doesn't matter if you win the World Series or not. It's a good trade or it's a bad trade based on the math,
Interesting. Okay. So I guess we could boil
is
that
what
down
I'm
to
saying.
short term versus long term, but I see what you're saying that process guy, I guess, is always going to be long term, but it's really just evaluating like the nominal
Yeah.
goodness of the trade. It's very nominal, whereas the consequentialist is really saying, I'm simply looking at the margins in this very limited viewport. for this like intended explicit purpose of this thing. And I think I see teams like
Yeah.
the Yankees doing stuff like that. And contenders in general doing stuff like that. Yeah.
So yeah, so it is in that vein. I guess I was yeah, speaking in a different like Klingon language there for a second. But yeah, I think that ultimately that is where I'm getting with this, is that there's a splinter in philosophy across the league right now. So, for instance, Dave Dombrowski, Phillies, he is a consequentialist, meaning he'll overpay for a trade if it means a deep postseason run. Um, and I don't like know Dombrowski personally or anything. I'm just saying, based on the decisions that he's made, he strikes me as a guy that, hey, we got to the championship series. This guy was a stud for us when we needed him. So who cares? Oh, that guy became the starting catcher for the Pirates. I don't care.
Now, with your deep expertise, can you find for our viewers, for our viewers, do you have an example? This actually might really help. Do you have an example of a GM that's both a consequentialist and a process guy? Or better said, someone who makes decisions of consequence while keeping in mind the process?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they all want to think that they're that, because that seems to be the ideal blend. I think that that's a hard balance to strike. Uh, I would say that, if I had to give you one person who has had a lot of success in the last, 20 years, I mean, Theo Epstein is probably one of the people that comes to mind. Some might say the GOAT. Uh, I mean, he's now taking care of two separate curses for two separate cities. So I
That's
don't know
funny.
many guys who have done that. Particularly like 100-year-old curses. So he's a pretty special guy. Like you look at like a Breslow, like I would not describe Craig Breslow or Mike Elias like in Baltimore as balancing those two things. And some of that depends on the ownership and how they want you to manage things. But like David Stearns, I guess you could say, who was running Milwaukee at one point, came over to the Mets. Like I guess he has a blend of it. Andrew Friedman with the Dodgers, but I mean, those two are analogous to each other, but differ from the rest of the league in the sense that
Mm.
they're paying I'll just throw a number out there, like $100 million in luxury taxes, because it's like, oh, we're the Dodgers or we're the Mets, and Steve Cohen has a ton of money. I don't care about the taxes. So I mean, not every team can or will do that.
Yep, totally. I was thinking actually of a name. This might throw you for a loop, but being a guy that deeply follows the AL West, I sincerely, after many criticisms, I have to give some flowers. I have to give some flowers to Dana Brown.
Wow, Dana guy, you've come around on Dana big time.
I've bigly come around on Dana as a process and consequentialist guy. Here's why.
Yeah.
Because for 1 year, one rental year of Kyle Tucker, you get 15 years. He does the interview where he says, "I think everyone in Houston will know why we did this trade in the future," meaning Cam Smith. You get Isaac Paredes, who's pretty much was a Gold Glove third baseman, plug-in for Alex Bregman. Never thought I'd say those words. Leading the
Yep.
team. I mean, he's the guy built for the Crawford boxes, actually delivered. At the deadline,
Yep.
here's his consequentialist move. He goes get Correa, makes the Twins pay for it,
Yeah. Sure.
knowing he's going into 26, shedding McCullers. He shedded Presley. He's shedding the Abreu contract. It's just like I think I'll wrap with this. I think that GMs are a lot like NFL quarterbacks, not quarter but cornerbacks. And I think about this philosophy a lot, that when you're really good at your job, but people don't know your goodness, by virtue of, say, the touchdown or the immediate score, they only implicitly know it by the absence, the lack of someone scoring against you. And I think a GM is a lot like that.
Yeah, I
Another,
think that's fair to say.
another metaphor is like steering a cruise ship, or nudging interest rates for the economy to combat inflation. These little marginal twists and turns that show up and echo into the years down the road. that creates dynasties. And I think Dana Brown might be a dynasty guy. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, and if you remember, I mean, when we came out of the PC grades for the trade deadline, I mean, the worst grade I gave in that entire piece was to the Twins because of that Correa trade. To me, I did not buy that Correa was washed. He's hitting 293 with a 350 WOBA, 125 WRC plus right now, and he's loving third base. He looks great over there.
Beautiful.
So, I know that Jose and left didn't work out as well, but Carlos at third looks great.
Beautiful.
And I mean, to me, I think that's a huge miss for the Twins. And from a locker room standpoint, the way that they destabilize the spirit of that team, but in a sense, by losing the leadership in the Twins locker room, that leadership was provided in Houston. And I think that that's also given them a floor. I know that the timing seems odd for us to be giving the Astros such praise, given that they just lost their lead in the AL West. But I think it would be worse right now if they hadn't traded for Carlos.
Yeah, to their credit regarding this plummet, just to, I guess, pivot to the Mariners here and the Mariners' ascent with their last 8-game winning streak. I think I want to give the Mariners their flowers. I really want to give Dipoto a lot of credit for balling out this year, finally, for his people. I think that's fan-freaking-tastic. But somebody has to say this. The Astros, they led the major leagues in the number one team with the most amount of players on the IL, all starters, an entire
big health problems. Yep.
Wait for it.
For sure.
And as one person came back, they lost two more. It was always one step forward, two steps back. And now to cap it off, this past week, Garcia's out for the season again, Arrighetti's out for the season again, McCullers is out for the season again, Hader's out for the season, and Paredes as well. It's just like, I think similar to the Twins getting gut punched with only Buxton and Royce left, the Stros have this IL issue gut punch, which is kind of clearing the way for the Mariners pretty much. It's really theirs to lose, even though they've been in second place the whole time.
I mean, I will say as well, though, that, I mean, I think the Mariners have the best bullpen in baseball this month in September. It's only been a few weeks, but the starting pitching is coming around. Bryce Miller is finally healthy, and the offense has kept going, right? I mean, I know Cal slowed down a little bit in the second half, but even still, you think about today, for example, the game started with, I think it's Randy got on base. And okay, so now I got to pitch to Cal because I have no outs in the first inning, and I got to pound the strike zone. Except it's Cal Raleigh, so it's a 2-run homer, right?
Isn't that crazy?
and now you're down 2-0, right? So in 2 minutes, you're down 2-0, right? And then you got Cal, touching home plate. He's got the trident and the whole deal. Then Julio's coming up.
Lamau.
So I mean, this lineup is deep, and they're all coming together. And one of the best signings, because you were talking about Jerry, one of the things that Jerry has done exceptionally well is plug the holes in the ship, if you will, with the offense with not a lot of resources. So bringing in Jorge Polanco back on a 1-year deal after he hit 213. Obviously, we all know he's really not a good defender. So, you can put him at third base and he can stand at third, or put him at second base, he can stand at second base, but that's really the extent of the ability there. He's really essentially a DH. And I mean, you hit 213 as a DH, you're out of the league. So they bring him back, they give him whatever it was, $5 million. And obviously, yes, for everyone listening, that's a lot of money to all of us as lay people. But for Major League Baseball teams, that is not the cost of an everyday player. And Jorge Polanco is hitting 263, 24 bombs, 129 WRC plus.
It's disgusting. It's good for him, man.
129 WRC plus is excellent. And just to give you a sense, Fernando Tatis this year, 127 WRC plus. Riley Green, 127 WRC plus. He has the same WRC plus as Cody Bellinger, Jeremy Pena, James Wood, Bangaliers, and Jose Ramirez. Just to give you some context on what group he's in right now. So now he might not be the defender that Jose is, or he definitely doesn't offer a lot of the base running value that a guy like Cody Bellinger does or Fernando Tatis does. But still, I mean, that's incredible. $5 million, guy has a major knee surgery. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, John?
I was hearing rumors on the hot stove about the Stros trying to like plug their second base problems of moving Altuve left with Jorge, and my first thought was all due respect to Jorge Polanco was F that. I think I'm serious because I think he was batting like 210, 220, something.
Yeah.
And he was just coming off a knee surgery, and I'm like, how is he going to be nimble? How's he going to be quick? How's he going to jump over that candlestick? And here he is.
Yeah.
Just here he is. Cal Raleigh, him, Naylor joining the ranks. Like, what is happening in Seattle, people, I'm excited. I'm an Astros fan, and I'm excited for you guys.
And in a pitcher's park, right? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, Polanco is not doing this at Great American. Like he's doing this in a pitcher's park. He's playing half his games at T-Mobile. And the lineup of Randy, Cal, Julio, then you got Naylor, Polo, Suarez. Yes. So that's your 1 through 6 right now.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on the first edition of the Painting Corners podcast. We hope you follow us, like and subscribe. Follow all of our social media accounts from LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and of course X. And thank you to our supporters for listening, tuning in today for hot takes and different points of view in the immortal words of Ned Clement O'Brien. So God bless you all, and keep coming back. Baseball fans everywhere, this is the Painting Corners podcast signing off.
Through training camp, the dog days, seasons, ebbs and flows, losing streaks and winning ones. They're talking about it all, listening to Painting Corners, a baseball podcast with insights for you. Listening to